Let's bring in PJ Carlesimo, ESPN NBA studio analyst, ESPN game analyst. PJ, how are you?
Excellent, DP. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander right now.
You should be feeling great then.
Help me understand 3 minutes to go on Friday night, and he takes over. Indiana knows he's taken over, and you still can't stop him. Why?
He's a really tough combination. The size, the ball handling. He's got the middle game. I don't want to say he's a good 3-point shooter. He's a decent 3-point shooter. He made the only three in the entire fourth quarter. I kept saying that Mark Kestisher during the game, if OKC doesn't make some threes, they can't win this game, and they didn't. But Shea made one that really mattered down the stretch. He wants the ball. He's herky jerky. He's like he reminds me a little bit of Pac-Man years ago. Like he doesn't straight line anything. He goes over, sideways, around a guy. He gets in front of a player. He stops. He initiates contact. He's got that forearm out a lot. You know, the other team is always going to cry, "Hey, he created the contact. His defender didn't." He can get basically wherever he wants to get. It's usually the mid-range jumper, and then not always in late game situations. He's a really good passer, D. He sees the rest of the floor. So the rest of the game, he'll involve his team. And I'm not saying he won't pass it at the end, but if it's a big enough shot, he knows he's supposed to take it.
What went wrong with the Pacers?
Rick Carlisle used the word stat, which was interesting because obviously lead by 7 points after 3 quarters. And not that there's always a correlation, but in the first 3 games, they owned the fourth quarter. They were the best fourth quarter team in the first 3 games of the playoffs. So you're sitting there between the third and fourth quarter and thinking, boy, Indiana is in really good shape. I thought one thing happened that kind of got lost in the shuffle on the OKC side. Chet Holmgren and Alex Caruso scored the first 9 points. Like it went from 87-80 to 89-89, and it was all Alex Caruso and Chet Holmgren. Chet had 6, AC had 3, and boom, like right away, this big advantage, it was gone. So now we're starting all over. It's an even game. Rick thought they got sped up a little bit. They weren't popping the ball around as much. It was sticking. They obviously weren't making threes, which early on had been their bread and butter in that game. So it kind of got away from them. I don't want to say they lost their composure, but they certainly didn't play with the confidence and with the purpose on the offensive end, especially. The other thing, I mean, with all that was said, Ben Mathurin, who's their best free throw shooter, missed a pair that would have still made it a 1-point game with like 24 seconds to go. So the series has been much more competitive and much closer than I thought it was going to be starting out.
Other topics help me understand the Desmond Bane trade from both sides here.
Well, I can understand it from the Orlando side in terms of a quality player. They really struggle at times offensively. Jamal Mosley's done a really good job there. It's hard a little bit to evaluate him this year because you had so many injuries. Paolo had a great year. Wagner was out a lot, both Wagner. So the team is closer than a lot of people realize. Orlando's kind of poised to make a run in the Eastern Conference, particularly with who knows what's going to happen with the Celtics. I don't think the coaching is necessarily the absolute key. You know, I'm biased about that, but I think the Knicks are going to be okay regardless of what they do. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were with Tibbs coaching, but I think it's a good time to make a move in the East so I can understand what Orlando's thinking. But boy, they gave up a lot. They really gave up a lot. I'm not KCP, the jury's out on. Loved him in Denver, liked him in LA. He had a really tough year. Is he too old? Is he on the downside? I don't know. I still think there's something there. Greg Anthony's son's a very good player and a slew of draft picks. So I thought they gave up a lot, but they got a really special player back. Desmond Bane is a big time shooter. He's a strong physical guard. He's a very willing defender. I mean, he's a good defender. So I think they got a heck of a player that can really help them advance in the East. But boy, they gave up a ton.
PJ Carlesimo, former NBA coach, an analyst for the Mothership. He'll be covering the NBA Finals. You mentioned the Knicks. What are the Knicks doing?
They don't know, DP. There's no way we could know. They have no idea themselves what they're doing. So I just don't understand it. Conventional logic, which doesn't really concern me, is you don't fire a guy who's as talented a coach as Tibbs. You can say whatever you want about managing the bench and, they didn't get as far as on. You look at what they've done in the last 25 years, and his 4 years of putting them in the playoffs. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals. He's a proven winner. He was a big factor back in '08. Doc could be the first to tell you that when the Celtics won there. He's really a special coach. You get rid of a coach, and it doesn't seem like they had a plan. The Knicks, are still one of the 3 or 4, preeminent franchises in the league. You would think people, want to coach there despite, and I don't think it's always necessarily Leon. You just don't know with ownership how much there's interference there. Or I don't know who made this decision. It's easy for them to make it look like, well, the players weren't happy playing for Tibbs. You got a couple of guys that have had the best year they've ever had in the NBA. So I don't think they're really thinking, I don't like playing for this guy. This has been good for me, and the team's been winning. Where they're going now, I don't know. The calling other teams to talk to their coaches that are there, and very good coaches. Okay, good. They pick good teams to call. Those guys are very good coaches. Why would you ever give permission for the Knicks to talk to the guy? I mean, I don't understand that.
Any chance Rick Brunson takes over as the head coach of the Knicks?
I would have thought yes. Everybody's telling me no, and who everybody is, I don't know. People around the Knicks, the broadcasters, assistant coaches, a couple players I talked to, they all think no. That to me was kind of from the beginning. Rick Brunson's capable of being a coach in the NBA. He obviously Tibbs valued his counsel. He was a major factor for them. I would have thought it just doesn't seem to be mentioned at all. Whether it becomes a fallback, I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Kevin Durant's value now is what?
I think still very, very good. He still is going to get you 30 or close to it. We talked about how special Shea is. Kevin, in his prime, and he's not far from his prime, was the best end of a game player you would ever want. He was so big. He was so good with the ball. He shot threes, shoots threes even better.
Better than LeBron closing time or Steph closing time?
I think, yes. I want him because LeBron always, as great as LeBron is, he was never a great free throw shooter. He's much better than he was. KD was the whole package. He was going to shoot 90% free throws. He was too big. He could shoot over everybody. He had a good handle for a guy that big, and he could score outside or inside. And if you fouled him, he was automatic. So he was a tremendous end-of-game player. Not that he wasn't good the other 47 minutes, but he was money at the end of a game.
What's the best performance you ever witnessed, whether you're coaching against or coaching for, but who put up the best performance ever?
Well, I want to say Tim Duncan, but I'm trying to think of an individual one. The 5 years I was lucky enough to be an assistant in San Antonio, there were so many times that he got us through to the end, but he wasn't one of those guys that normally put up like 40 and did like 22 points in a row. God, that's a heck of a question. I'm tempted to say somebody like Kevin, but I'm getting senile, so I can't really come up with an opponent or a game where I just like sat there and said, I can't believe what this guy's doing. Just scored, like kind of what Shea did the other night. What was it, 15 of the last 16? Yeah. But and not taking anything away. He is the MVP. He's great. Jokic is another one. DP. I know we don't want to get into the Jokic-Shea debate right now, but Jokic did that a number of times. The way he impacted a game, in so many different ways, with the passing, with the scoring himself, with getting to the free throw line, the way he understands the game.
What about Jordan? Did you witness anything with Jordan?
Oh, that was like automatic, but it was like you were so immune to it. You just like when he did it, you go, yeah, of course. It was kind of like when they ran out of time with the weather yesterday, they put Tiger on, and it was like nice watching it. I had forgotten that last putt rolled around a little bit, but Rocco wasn't being smog or game. He went like, yeah, of course he made the putt. That's what Tiger does. That was the way it was with MJ. Like whatever he did, you just go, okay, that's what Michael Jordan did, which made it kind of special that you actually expected it and you just kind of shrug your shoulders and go, yeah, that was Michael Jordan. It's funny talking to a lot of the younger players now. In a sense, they certainly don't remember him, but they haven't even seen him that much. Honestly, they don't appreciate exactly what he did on a regular basis.
What was more physical, the NBA in the 80s or the Big East in the 80s?
I think in the 80s, it was actually the Big East because nothing was called. It was great. It was expected. This series, talking about physical, you got two teams that prefer to pick up full court. Anytime there's a dead ball, they'll both pick up 94 feet. They have a lot of physical defenders. That's the way they defend. It's really hard to officiate this series because there's contact and there's guys laying on each other virtually every play. And when you go to the lane, it's very rare when somebody gets all the way to the basket without Holmgren or Miles Turner or a couple of these really good long athletes just challenging every shot. I really think the defense in this series is excellent.
Yeah, but they're not fighting like you guys did in the 80s.
That was just, it was just, I don't know whether Dave Gavitt had a meeting with the officials or what, but it was like, the funny part was, it was expected though. Like you didn't even look, like a guy would go through, get knocked down, he'd be up, he'd be bleeding. Nobody would say a word. It was like, okay, they foul us. That's the way it was. You know what it was like on a playground, DP, when you were young, and it was a game to 11 and it got to be 10-10. Well, you had to make a jump shot or something like that. Because if you went inside, guys just punched you, knocked you down. That was the way the Big East was. Only it was most of the possessions in the game.
Great to talk to you. Save that voice for tonight. Sorry.
I will, brother. Thank you, DP. Good seeing you.
Great to see you, PJ. PJ Carlesimo, he'll be on the call tonight. It'll be Game 5, and that'll be on ESPN Radio. The tip-off is slated for 8:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio, and also on ABC.